What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another All Things Liverpool podcast with me, Anish. And we are now finally at the end of the transfer window. It's all done and dusted. Things are wrapped up. We've got our extra midfielder in, and now, thankfully, from my point of view at least, we can solely focus on the matches, solely focus on the football, not having to worry for a couple of months at least about players that we wanted to bring in, players that we could bring in, and all the rumours that were circulating over the summer. And of course, with a big game tomorrow, it's obviously great that we're going into it with some confidence. I wouldn't say we're exactly flying high, but we're definitely in a more positive state of mind since last Saturday, and of course the result in midweek. And many other things have gone our way over the course of the last couple of days, with players coming back, Nunes back from suspension as well, and yeah, players looking like they'll be back in the next couple of weeks or so. So lots to get through in today's video. We'll of course be reviewing the match on Wednesday night, a brilliant victory and a vital victory, and that. In that as well. Talking about Arthur Melo, who of course is our new midfielder and the one that we decided to bring in after months of searching and after so many names were rumored to be supposedly joining the club. Talking about our overall transfer window, ranking the players that we brought in, so Ramsey, Nunes, Carvalho, and I think most importantly, Salah as well, because getting him down to a new contract and making sure that was put to bed. And then lastly, we'll be talking about the Everton game tomorrow. Obviously, a very massive match, the Merseyside derby, and even though results in the past have typically gone our way, it's still a huge game at their ground. It's essentially their cup final, and because Everton aren't a good team, they are where they are because of what they've done and because of the players they got. It really is a big game for them, and a game where they always cherish, and one where they'll hope to ruin our day. But anyway, without further ado, let's start with the game on Wednesday night. And of course, when I was previewing it a couple of days ago, we all knew what the kind of game that we were expecting. Newcastle are a much better side than what they have been in previous seasons, and with different players. They've of course got a lot of quality in that side with Kieran Trippier, with Dan Burn, Sven Botman, who of course didn't play in that match. Nick Pope in goal is a brilliant player, and then up top with Isak, who of course I was hoping wouldn't have been able to play because of his work permit issue, but they were able to sort that out and make him available in time for the game. So obviously that paid quite a lot for them. But in general, it was always going to be a very difficult game. It was going to be up to us to break them down. And as Newcastle has shown in the first four games before that match, they were always going to be very hard to break down, given how robust and energetic their midfield is, how quality their defense is, and with Nick Pope in goal. Even Man City scored 3 times past them. They still found it difficult to score more and to create more against that Newcastle back line. So, given what we did on Saturday against Bournemouth, putting 9 goals past them and feeling a bit more confident, I of course was feeling a bit better that it's going to be tougher, but we should have a bit more fun in creating chances against this side. And it was kind of like that. I feel for most of the first half, at least. I thought we were passing quite well. We dominated possession as you'd expect. I think Newcastle were always going to allow us to have the ball, and then when they do win it, try and counter attack. But we still had our chances, and we still had a couple of good moments in the first half. I think the best one, of course, came to Luis Diaz after Firmino did really well. The Firmino that we all have seen over the past couple of years, picking the ball up from deep and playing that perfect through ball to the wide men. So this time it was Diaz, and unlucky not to keep his balance. He did everything right, timed his run, was onside, got round the keeper, but just unluckily lost his footing right at the end. But it was a good moment. It was, a sign of how things were, and a sign of our dominance, really. And I thought, if we went 1-0 at halftime, I don't think many people could complain about it. But of course, with the way we are, and with how Newcastle are really, and I think just in general how we've been playing, other than the Bournemouth match, we're not quite at it in terms of our defense and our midfield, whether that's to do with our energy, whether that's to do with our pressing, communication, people just switching off for a half second. And that's exactly how their goal came. I thought for the initial bit, the way Newcastle started the build-up, it was okay from our point of view and the way we were trying to stop them from really creating anything meaningful. But as soon as the ball comes into that 20-yard area where a player like Willock or Sean Longstaff, as it was on that occasion, can pick a pass, and obviously they're not as good as Guimaraes, but they do have some quality and they do have the tools to really pick that defense. But from our point of view, a bit sloppy again. Fabinho, he made the decision to push forward, and I think that's fine. That's okay. You can do that to try and close the man down because he might shoot. But Henderson in that position, he just has to react quicker. It's as simple as that. And he hasn't really started the season particularly well. Of course, was very poor against Manchester United. Pretty much at fault for the second goal. Wasn't great against Fulham, and I don't think he. And I think it was Palace as well, where he didn't particularly control the midfield, or even helped out much defensively. So a poor goal from our point of view, a move where easily avoidable had Henderson carried on tracking the runner. But you got to give credit to Newcastle and credit to Isak. He's coming up against Addison, one of the best in the world, someone who comes out so quickly from his goal and often smothers the ball or makes a very good save. But it's a brilliant finish from the big man. And talking about him before in our last show and before the game, I knew that Isak would be a good signing. From his displays with Sweden at the Euros last summer, the fact that Arsenal were very heavily linked with him as well and were very keen on his services. There is of course a big player there, and coming in at the fee that he came in, I think it was roughly £70 million. He was always going to, really show his worth. And it's a fantastic finish, putting it high into the net, giving Addison no chances. And even if there were two of him in goal, I don't think he would have much of a chance of saving it. So fair play to Newcastle, a very good goal, and one where you can't really complain from our point of view. Should have done better defensively, but the goal was always going to, they were always going to have a goal threat as soon as Isak was available to play and as soon as they had a substantial player up top, with all due respect to Chris Wood. So going down again, 1-0 down for the 8th game now in the last 9. It's now, I thought Bournemouth would have bucked that trend, but clearly it's something that we're still trying to sort out and still need to figure out very quickly and very, very soon, really. But in the second half, it was definitely a step up. First half I thought we were okay. Had a good chance, should have scored, but didn't really create too much and couldn't really apply a serious amount of pressure. But a lot better in the second half. And Harvey Elliott, we've been talking about him for a lot, and I feel I will be talking about him a lot in the next weeks, next months, perhaps even the whole season. Absolute star. I mean, the way he's taking on that responsibility as Liverpool's creator-in-chief in that midfield, whilst, Robbo and Trent aren't quite at the level that we know they are. Elliott is the guy who's winning the ball in midfield, being that aggressive midfielder that Lallana was, and also doing the other side of things where he's being that third person in that midfield spot to be involved in the attack, to high press, to try and get shots on goal, to try and play through passes. And that's exactly what he did in the second half, even more so. I think there was one moment where I think we forced a mistake from Newcastle and Elliott picked the ball up, did very, very well to get around one man. And if the shot was, a couple of yards to the left, he would have forced an even better save from Nick Pope, who made a good save to stop it from squirming under him or going out for a corner. But it was a moment, it was a sign, it was something that we've seen him do in a couple of matches. I remember against Crystal Palace, he did something quite similar, but I think on that occasion he didn't really catch the ball very well. But he's doing it more and more now, and that's showing real progression and showing signs that he's taking things on board from Klopp and from the rest of the coaches. And he's really showing that he can make this next step up and he can carry on progressing. And eventually we'll see one of those efforts where he beats a man, beats even a couple of players, and finds a bottom corner or the top corner. So great from him. I thought he was very positive, very very energetic, and hopefully that form will continue. Especially I think after the game against Bournemouth, he came off with a little niggle. So brilliant to see that he didn't have any kind of reoccurrence of that issue on Wednesday night, and mentally too. Of course, we all remember the injury, the big injury he had last season against Leeds. So for someone to still be recovering from that injury mentally, it's great to see that he didn't really think about it on Wednesday night and played the game that we know he can do. So from then on, it was, I think, a lot more aggressive, a lot more penetrative with the way we were running, the way the passes we were making, and overall the way we were stretching our defenses. And even then, with our performance, our better second half performance, we were still quite fortunate to not go 2-0 down, I think, on the counter attack. I think it might have been from our corner where Newcastle broke, and then Isak just straight offside. I think he just went ahead of Gomez. But again, for Newcastle's point of view and for other defenses, really a real warning sign that this guy is showing business. Showed brilliant composure, got past Gomez, got past Robo, and again past Alisson to put it into the roof of the net. Brilliant composure, and fortunately for us, he was just offside. I think like half a yard or a yard max. So lucky for us, and we made the most of it. And I think it was 10 minutes later where we really made it count, and a great goal again. Elliott involved, being the creator in that midfield and pushing us forward. Great pass into Salah, and then from that position, you always know Salah more often than not will pick the right pass, will make the right decision, and it's a lovely little pass. And then Firmino, I'm so glad he's got that goal, because whilst he was brilliant against Bournemouth, and we should definitely say that, the two goals he did score were goals you expect any half-decent player to score. It was a free effort 6 yards out, and the second one was a rebound off the goalkeeper. But that strike against Newcastle, I mean, that is what you call a proper number 9. And we all know Bobby isn't that. He's a false 9. He's a creator kind of type. But the quality of that finish is fantastic. To take it first time, showing that confidence, not thinking that you need an extra touch to try and control the ball or to try and slow it down. And then when that happens, more often than not, the defender will come out to you and make a tackle or they'll make a block. But showing that ability to say, yes, I can shoot first time. I am good enough to get this on target. And we all know that he can do it. And that's exactly what he did. So a brilliant goal from him. I think he went through Dan Burns' legs and then into the far corner, and against Nick Pope, who I think is one of the best keepers in the league. In fact, I don't think he gets enough praise, really. It's an absolutely brilliant finish into the far corner, and there's only one place he can really put it, across goal. And so often we've seen him, kind of skew it, kind of put it a couple of yards wide, but he caught it perfectly. And now it's a brilliant moment for him as well. So now he's got back-to-back goals and coming into some real confidence. And especially with the derby tomorrow and with the options we now have available, it's given Klopp a good headache to have, whether to keep Firmino in the team or whether to change it up. Of course, we'll go into great detail when we talk about the match tomorrow. So 1-1, showing some good signs, got back level on terms, and a really important goal. But even then, you still felt that, okay, things aren't quite going for you. And at the time, of course, we still had a few players that can't really make much of a difference off the bench. And I think the last couple of games have been the same substitutes. It's been Milner, Carvalho, and Tsimikas. But with Carvalho, that's the one you hope for. That's the one where you think, okay, something could happen when he's on the ball. He can, drive forward like he did against Manchester United. He could get a goal like he did against Bournemouth, and he can be involved with that attacking front three. And that's exactly what he did again. So fantastic from him to be involved, to create spaces, to be brave up on the ball, and that's what you want from your players and your attacking players. And even though he's 20 years old, in fact, he just turned 20, didn't he? It was his birthday the day before the match. So still a very, very young player, and to make that step up when he's only been training with the team for a couple of months, when he's coming up against a very physical and strong Newcastle side, they're completely different with how they are now and how they've adapted under Eddie Howe. They're far more physical, they're far more robust, and they will really, put themselves about. So for Carvalho to really come into the game, to really show what he can do, it's fantastic to see. And him and Elliott, two of the, the two shining stars this season so far have been wonderful for the team, and they really have lifted the mood around the club, and kept us in positive spirits. So for him to have that impact like he did against Manchester United, got the assist for Salah against Bournemouth, coming on and getting his first goal, and then on Wednesday night in that moment, and of course I think Newcastle will feel aggrieved about the 3 extra minutes that were put on top of the 5 that the referee announced in stoppage time, but they can't have any complaints, because I think I was watching a clip on Twitter. One substitution thing Newcastle made, which roughly is 30 seconds per sub, going down with cramps. Joe Linton on several occasions. I think Nick Pope did the same as well. So when you force those moments and you give the referee a reason to add on time, because the referees aren't stupid, and I never understand why teams, even us on occasion, make additional subs after in stoppage time, because the referee will add this time on. They always do, and they have multiple watches on their wrist, so they can stop and start, and then know when to call time, or when to add extra time if need be. So from their point of view, they'll of course feel aggrieved. But if you're looking at that clip, and if you saw the amount of times they were going down with little injuries, they can't have any complaints. And it's beautiful karma, essentially, to to score the goal in that manner, with 2 of the smallest players on the pitch as well, Salah and Carvalho, going up for the corner, winning the first header. And I think Dan Burn was in that little mix up as well. So to think that we were able to win that is quite remarkable. But this is Liverpool Football Club. This is what we've done and what we always continue to do. 90th minute winners, crazy winners. And it was a beautiful, beautiful moment, a wonderful goal from him, and a very good goal, I might add at that as well, because it's so easy when the ball is bouncing up just to, take the easy option and try smash it across goal and hope that it might go in off a Newcastle player, or one of our players might get a touch. But he showed great bravery, great composure, and above all that, great skill. A half volley to put that in. There's only one place where you can put that, in the roof of the net. Similar to what Bobby did for his goal, putting it in the bottom corner, and similar to what Isaac did, putting it in the roof of the net as well. So fantastic for him to get it past Nick Pope, to get it past the amount of Newcastle players on the line, and the scenes at full time were absolutely wonderful. Great from us, 3 very, very big points. And when you're comparing the last 2 wins we've had against Bournemouth, a very important win in that manner to really take out our aggression in the right way and put a team to the sword. So, getting 9 goals, fantastic. And then against Newcastle, a team who I expect will be very high up in the table. I do expect them to challenge for Europe. And I think we should also give a bit of credit to Newcastle for holding out for that long. And, they could have actually won the match if they had a couple of their other players available. Wilson was injured. So Maximum too. Bruno Guimaraes also wasn't available. Botman, for some reason, was on the bench. So we weren't coming up against, the strongest Newcastle team, and they still put up a very, very good fight. So I have no doubts when they get those players back, they'll be causing a lot of teams a lot of problems, as they did against Man City, and as they have shown against us. And with Isak up top, they are going to score a lot of goals. But great from us to get that kind of win, to get ourselves back-to-back wins, and really show that we are not going anywhere. We are still going to be up and in and around the top side of the table, and really be challenging for the Premier League title this season. So great win. It's put us up now to 6th in the table, and of course, looking at the league table at this stage of the season isn't very important, because it's so early and there's still so many matches to play. But the matter of it, the confidence is given us, and the fact that we are obviously playing tomorrow at 12:30, so giving us a chance to pick up 3 points that even push us up higher in the table. And again, of course, it doesn't matter too much about where you're on the table, but it matters that you're building momentum, you're building confidence, and now into the part where we are going to be playing a game every 3-4 days, to have that confidence going into every single match, thinking that yes, we are going to win this game. So great result. Great victory, great performance. A lot of players coming back to full fitness. I thought Gomez was okay again. I think Bobby's been the best one out of the 3. up top, especially in the last couple of games, and he's really showing the form that he has shown quite consistently in his time at Liverpool. And then Salah and Diaz, who I thought again were very good. Diaz, his performance was fantastic yet again, and Salah getting 2 assists. And even though he's not scoring, he's creating lots of chances. And the game, I think before I saw a stat before the game against Newcastle, he's already created 15 chances this season, more than any other player. So really showing that he's still very, very, very good. But of course, I think at the time of the game, we were still thinking about so many other things, and particularly whether we were going to get a central midfielder. And even after Klopp's post-match conference against Newcastle, I think he said that almost certainly we're not going to bring someone in, but he ended saying that don't rule us out just quite yet. And as soon as he made that comment, I think it would have been a fair assumption. You would have thought, okay, yeah, Klopp said that's that, and we're not going to bring anyone in. But with the Henderson injury, after he said that he suffered a hamstring problem and will be out for a couple of weeks, I think that really forced the club's hand and forced Klopp's hand to really go out and try and find someone. And bringing in Arthur Melo from Juventus could be good. I mean, it's an interesting one when you're looking at his career history, coming in from Grêmio, the same club that Lucas Leiva came from, and of course we all know Brazil's history with footballers. They pretty much produce some of the greatest talents in the world, and of course we have three already, three very, very good ones. You're looking at Arthur coming in from Grêmio in Brazil, then going to Barcelona and then Juventus. So clearly, even though it hasn't worked at either club, that's why obviously he's moved so often. He was at Barca for I think 2 seasons, Juventus as well for 2 seasons as well. So he's moved about from place to place, hasn't really been able to nail a spot down. So you can look at it in one way, saying that, okay, if these top clubs don't think he's good enough, then why could he be good? Why isn't he good enough for Liverpool why isn't he good enough for Liverpool either? But at the same time, you got to look at the flip side and think, okay, he's already played for Barcelona, he's played for Juventus, he's played in the Champions League. I think he was also involved in that game in 2019 where we of course had that remarkable comeback. And you have to think that there is some quality there. And he's also at an age now where he's 26 years old. That's what you call the prime time for a player. The years where they are really they really are at the peak of their powers, where they are the best they can possibly be. And with Arthur, I think he feels as well that this is like kind of a last chance for me. I'm at a really, really big club, a club that's obviously one of the top in the world, and I can really show that I am a fantastic player. So from our point of view, getting Arthur in, I think it's a great addition. Purely because, well, it's a midfield addition, and that's something that we very, very much needed, irregardless of the injuries that we had. We all know about our midfield situation and how injury-prone they are. And even if they were all available right now, I still would have said, yeah, we still need to bring in another midfielder, even for long term. You're looking at the players that we have. Oxlade-Chamberlain looks like he'll be going next summer. Naby Keita, likewise as well. And Naby Keita is as useful as broken glass, really. So yeah, that's everything to know about him. Henderson coming towards the end and kind of slowing down. Milner retiring any day now, and then Thiago, of course, is fantastic, but also very, very injury prone. So bringing in Arthur, who of course ironically has his own injury problems as well. I've just been looking at his history right here. Last season he was out for 7 matches with surgery. He was out for another couple of weeks before that in the season. Was out for 7 more matches during his time in Barcelona in the 1920 season. So again, another one with injury problems, and someone who could very well be on the sidelines for Liverpool in the coming weeks. But we have to hope and we have to think that he will be good. He is, of course, available and fit, contrary to some reports that I saw that he was injured at the time. But he is fit and available. He's been training for Juventus this whole preseason, which is great. Just hasn't been selected for their first couple of matches. And you have to hope that he will stay fit and he will bring a lot to the team, particularly with the kind of profile that he is. A player who is tidy on the ball, kind of like Thiago. Okay, he definitely isn't the same level of Thiago because Thiago is one of the best in the world. But that kind of profile, good ball retention, able to hold it, able to take it off the back four and play those passes into the wide players, into the striker, and really have that energetic role in midfield. So kind of like what Wijnaldum did, and that's something that we never really replaced when he left last summer. And hopefully now with Arta, he is able to bring that kind of same technical qualities and same kind of like mannerisms and quality that Wijnaldum brought. So hopefully it works out for us. Of course, it's a loan deal, which is I think great for all parties. And although I think the UK media didn't report that Liverpool had an option to buy him at the end of the summer, there was like a press statement that I saw from Juventus, and I think a lot of you would have seen as well that Liverpool do have an option to buy him for 34.5 million euros next summer. So either way, it's a win-win for us. You're looking at a player who could be good. That's why Liverpool do have that option to buy him, because they think he could work out for us and could be a great addition to the team for this summer, for this season and beyond. And alternatively, if it doesn't work out, they say, okay, thank you very much for your effort. We appreciate it. But yeah, you can go back to Juventus now. So hopefully it works out. Again, it's really important that we bring in another midfielder. Unfortunately, he won't play tomorrow because of international clearance, but he will be available for Napoli, Klopp said today in his conference. So that game on Tuesday evening. And of course, he will be, hopefully will be available for the next Premier League match. So great addition there. Hopefully brings a lot to the team and eases some of the burden on some players who are out injured and can't really play too many matches this season, and it'll give them some time as well to get back even stronger and even fitter. So with Arta coming in, that's now our fourth major signing of the summer, in addition to Darwin Núñez, Calvin Ramsey, and Fabio Carvalho. And you have to think that it's overall quite a positive transfer window, because I think at the beginning of the summer, irregardless of the injuries, so let's say Liverpool didn't have any, well, they had a couple of injuries, but nothing too major, and we had at least 5 or 6 central midfielders to choose from, rather than right now where we've got, I think, 3 or 4, and two of those 4 are youngsters. So you have to look at it from that point of view. Okay, losing Mane, big blow, and that wasn't, that obviously that hurt quite a lot. Was a brilliant player for us, but I think it was also felt at the time that it should part ways. We've had 6 brilliant years together. We don't want to risk losing him on a free, and we got our money back, which is essentially fantastic for 34 million pounds, and got that much service from him. Someone who's won us everything, and obviously is a club legend. And then, so you're losing Mane. Origi, Minamino, sad losses in the sense that they were fantastic in the cups and they were a big reason why we won both trophies. Origi, of course, is a bit of a legend as well for what he did in the Champions League and in the Premier League in so many big occasions. But you're looking at those two, and they barely played last season. They only played in the cups, and that's about it. They really didn't have much of an impact in the league. Then a couple of other French players, Nico Williams wasn't really going to make out Liverpool, so to get 17 million from him was fantastic. And then a couple of others, Sepp Vandenberg, Tyler Morton, a couple of youngsters. So for them to leave, no real big issue. So Mane going, Núñez coming in as the long-term replacement. You'd have to say that right now, it's of course not an upgrade because of how Núñez has started getting sent off, and the fact that he still is developing. He's not going to come in and be the player Mane was that he straight away. It will take time to adapt, but long term you will have to say that it's going to be a great addition because of Núñez's age, because of how he'll develop, and with Klopp helping him for so many seasons. Núñez long term will be great, and the biggest thing as well is bringing down our average age score, which is now, of course, one of the oldest. In fact, I think it might be the oldest in the league. So Núñez coming in, a 20-something-year-old guy compared to Mane, who is obviously now in his early 30s. It helps obviously bring the age gap down. Then Carvalho, brilliant addition, one that we're going to have a lot of fun with this season. And of course, now we understand why Klopp wanted to keep him in the first team rather than send him out on loan, because clearly he thinks he can make an instant impact with the team. And in 4 games, he's already done that. Calvin Ramsey could be good. obviously we haven't seen him at all yet. He's been injured since he came in. Didn't have a single kick on the ball in pre-season, but is going to be coming back soon, and hopefully he'll get some game time with in the coming weeks. Now that we're going to be playing a lot of games in the next months, so someone that will hopefully bring greater competition to Trent and really push Trent on, and even potentially replace him. Trent could always move into a different position. We've always been talking about Trent playing as a right-sided midfielder in a midfield three, potentially even as a right winger, and Calvin Ramsey just behind him. So a great option there, and hopefully one where he'll make a big impact. And then of course Arthur coming in as an extra midfield option, giving us more flexibility, more rotation in that position, and really helping us out. So I think for Liverpool's transfer window, it's obviously not 10 out of 10. I think a 10 out of 10 would have been bringing in Jude Bellingham or Aurelien Tchouameni, who obviously I think would have come in had Real Madrid not blown us out of the water, which is of course fair enough. They are Real Madrid, and they are who they are, and they'll always do what they do. But overall, I think you'd have to say like it's been a good 7 out of 10 window. I think if we didn't bring Arthur in, I think it probably would have been a 5, maybe even a 4, because you'd have to say that Liverpool haven't strengthened with Núñez replacing Mane, because Núñez, of course, is still developing and still taking time, and there's no real extra additional players. You're looking at Carvalho coming in, who is still very young, and then Calvin Ramsey, who hasn't kicked the ball yet. But Arthur coming in has made a real difference, made everything much more positive, and given us, another big, smile on our faces going into a very, very tough period and very and very difficult period. So hopefully he makes a big impact. Hopefully the players who we have signed are going to do very well this season and beyond, and they can obviously have very good careers at Liverpool. But of course, for Saturday, now we have a really exciting time, because although it is a Merseyside derby, and it's a game where I think none of us really look forward to derby matches, myself included. Often I just want to get it over and done with, just take a scrappy 1-0, 2-0 win, go home, take the 3 points, and that's it. But it's going to be a great game, I think, particularly given the way we're coming into it, with those back-to-back wins, with now the players that we have available. Of course, losing Henderson is a big blow, purely because it's a player there and a leader and someone that we need in our team. So Klopp has a real choice for making that third midfield spot. I think the other two, without Fabinho and Elliott, are certainties for tomorrow. So now a decision to make whether who to bring in in that third spot. It's either Carvalho, Milner, or Curtis Jones, who of course has been back now for a couple of days in training. But elsewhere, it's looking far more better. You of course got Jean Matip now, who was on the bench on Wednesday night. So it's a good decision there for Klopp to make, whether to go with Gomez again, give him his third game in a row. And personally, if it was up to me, I think I would, just to continue that development for Gomez and give him more game time, which is something that I've said a couple of times, where he needs to be playing regularly now. He needs to be starting pretty much most weeks if he's going to be Liverpool's main centre back in the future. This is the time now where he has to kick on, has to develop, and become the centre back that we all know he can be. So a choice there for Klopp to make, to bring in Joel Matip or to stick with Gomez. And then I think most importantly, up top with Núñez now available after his 3-match ban. Personally, I wouldn't start him tomorrow for 2 reasons. I think the first is Firmino's form. I think he's warranted to keep his place in the team, and it's brilliant as well that Bobby's come into that form, with Núñez back, with also Jota back. So Firmino, if he can keep up this form, it's brilliant for us, because we've got a player who's definitely, I think, he's one of our best players. In fact, I think he is our best player in that front three. I know Salah and Mane always got the numbers, but they wouldn't have got the numbers if it wasn't for Firmino. So Firmino, when on song, is undoubtedly our best in that position and in that attacking trio. So great that he's on form, and personally, I think it'll be great for him to start tomorrow again and keep on giving Klopp the reason to not drop him, other than potentially to rotate him just to give him a break here and there. But for Núñez, back on the bench for me, for 2 reasons. Of course, with Firmino's form, and secondly, the intensity of a Merseyside derby. We all know what it's like. I think it's the fixture with the most red cards in history. Of course, Nunes, with the red card he got in the last match. We all know that Everton will do everything in their power to rile him up, to get him angry, to get him to get him to do the same thing that he did against Crystal Palace. So for Nunes, it is a learning curve. So if he does come in, I wouldn't be annoyed about that as well. I think it would be great. I think it will be a moment as well for him to really show that, okay, I've learned from that mistake and I'm not going to repeat it again. And if he is able to keep his cool, if he is able to show some composure in the match, then he will be a real problem for that Everton defense. So a good choice there to make. If Nunes comes in, brilliant. If he can keep his cool, even better. And he will undoubtedly be a big threat if he does start. But personally, I would go with Firmino. I think he deserves to keep that place in his team. He's showing some form, and I wouldn't be surprised one bit if Klopp does go with him tomorrow afternoon. And then, of course, the other option is Diogo Jota, who's now finally back from his injury. I think he's been injured since June or July. He got injured with Portugal in the Nations League, so didn't have a preseason, which was very unfortunate. And then of course he had a reoccurrence of the same problem in preseason, which set him back a couple of weeks. But he's been available. He trained yesterday, trained today, and will definitely be involved with the squad tomorrow. So to have him available is absolutely huge. A guy who was so important for us last season, getting 15 Premier League goals in the league, I think 20 in all competitions. And a real unbelievable talent. He scored against Everton last season in that 4-1 win. A brilliant goal as well. And going forward, he'll be very, very much needed to bring in that rotation. And now we got our 5 attacking players that we had at the beginning of the season. It's now giving us a lot of options to rotate. Now Salah could have a potential break, and even the way we play, I think we've all seen it in the last couple of weeks that it's been a bit difficult for Salah to get into the game because he's been so preoccupied with 2-3 players on him, and the other guys like Firmino, like Diaz, other than the last week or two, haven't been able to really take the mantle, even elsewhere in midfield and with Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back and Robbo at left back. They haven't really been able to kind of step up in whilst Salah's so busy preoccupying 2-3 players. But with Jota back, a obvious threat, a real big threat, and a really good talent with Nunes there. It's going to give us so many more options, and it gives us more options to rotate even the formation. When Henderson's back, when Thiago's back, when Arthur can make his debut, it gives us an option to play even four attackers at once. Putting Nunes up top, Firmino in the 10, Salah on the right, Diaz on the left, or Jota on the left or up top. It gives us so many options now that we've got a lot of attackers available. And with the 5 substitutes this season, it allows us to make multiple changes at once. Take off 2 of the front 3 if need be, if things aren't going to plan. So great that we got those options available. Decisions to make for Klopp tomorrow. Personally, I think he'll go with the same team again, bar Henderson, and I think he will bring in James Milner. Personally, I would actually bring in Curtis Jones. I think, given his record against Everton, I remember in the FA Cup a couple of years ago, the season we won the title, he scored a brilliant goal. And I think he's perfectly suited to that left centre mid spot. He's got a good relationship with Robbo on that side. And of course, does have a lot of energy, is far more quicker than James Milner. And given the game that it is and how much it means to him being a local lad, he will want to show that I am the guy for it, and I can live up to the expectation, and I will want to try to replicate myself in midfield and produce brilliant midfield performance that so many others have done in the past. Whether it was Gary McAllister, Steven Gerrard, Xabi Alonso, etc. And for him to think that he would really want to potentially show it. So hopefully, from my point of view, to see Curtis Jones in the team tomorrow and really show that he can still make it. And of course, I think I remember speaking a few weeks ago that I feel this is Curtis Jones' make or break season. He's had a couple of years now where he's shown good progression, been shown inconsistencies, but shown real signs of quality. And I think that this season really has to be the one where Jones can play 20, 30, 40 games this season and really contribute in that midfield three and be a great option. So let's hope that we get the right result tomorrow, pick up another 3 points, and of course our third straight win. And, again, claim the bragging rights over Everton, who will definitely put up a real challenge. They've, of course, not started the season too well. Had a couple of defeats, I think, against Chelsea on the opening day, and in their second game against Everton. But on the flip side, they showed a lot of fight. And in those two matches, I think they were very unlucky to lose both. Chelsea, they won because of a silly penalty decision. I think it was a silly decision from Dogra to give the foul away, and that's what won Chelsea the game. And then against Aston Villa, they showed some. Well, they weren't great until when they went 2-0 down, but then they got back to 2-1, and on another day could have snatched the point. Then in the 3 games since then, drawing 1-1 in each match, and against Leeds they were unlucky not to win the game. I think with the VAR decision going against them, that would have put them back in front in the match. So it will be a very tough game. Nothing like the game that we had last season where we won 4-1, and obviously Rafa was in charge. Agent Rafa, of course, doing us a big favour. I do expect it to be similar to the game at Anfield where we won 2-0. A very difficult match, a game where they'll be, parking the bus essentially, be very aggressive behind the ball and use that pace of Gray, off Gordon. It will be in central midfield, who I think has a big role to play, being that box-to-box player, helping out defensively and contributing going forward. So for me, I think we should win the game, given the quality that we have and given the week that we have and the players that we can choose now in the match tomorrow. But I don't expect it to be easy. I expect Everton to put in a really, really tough challenge. And if they are fully at it and if they can remain resolute, they, of course, got Conor Cody, a former Red, who should be starting tomorrow. They will be a tough challenge. So let's see how it goes, and hopefully we get the 3 points and start the weekend or start the next run of fixtures in a great mindset. Of course, it's a 12:30 kickoff tomorrow, so a really annoying time because with 12:30 kickoffs, traditionally we don't start well. Against Fulham we were very, very bad. And typically, I think in the past we've never really started well with the early kickoff. And of course, if you don't win the early kickoff, it can essentially ruin your weekend. So hopefully, it's not the case tomorrow. We start fast, start strong, and really put Everton to the sword and make sure we come away with all 3 points. But anyway, that is all we've got for today. I hope you've all enjoyed this video. Of course, it's been a quite a long one, and one there's been a lot of good stuff to get through and a lot to talk about. We'll of course be back again next week, where we'll review this game and the Champions League game as well. But maybe we might do a preview of the Napoli match as well. Of course, the first game in the group stage. It's ridiculous that it's come so quickly. And of course, talk about other things that will happen away from the field. So anyways, thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.